Dude, so why in the heck is everybody talking about Howa rifles? Hey, welcome back to the Gear and Beer Show, where we sit around and talk about gear while we drink delicious beer. What do we got today, Johnny boy?
We got Modern Times Beer. I believe they're based out of San Diego, California. Does not say, but yes, it does right here. Brewed in California, San Diego.
Perfect. So local to the state.
Yeah, this
awesome.
is a Galaxy Citra West Coast IPA.
Well, Russell shook these up before he threw them to us, so.
Little beer shower?
Little beer shower. So, hey, before we dive in, just a huge thank you to our sponsors, Gun Owners of California. Thank you for working with Legacy Sports International to help us get this Howa 1500 ultralight. And thank you to Forcible Entry for your glasses, for helping us with the show. Cheers. Pour a little bit in, and let's cheers and have a drink.
Cheers.
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 All right, out of 10, what are you giving that?
Out of 10, I say a 7.
No, that was a 7.8.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 0.8
I'm
on
a
that.
Russian judge.
I'd give it an 8.
An 8? All right.
Smooth.
Cool. Well, before we dive into this rifle, joined in the studio by John. He's the Asian with the biggest quads. Thanks for being here again. And awesome guest is my dad came in because he's been wanting to shoot this Howa rifle that we got because we've been talking about how light it is and we wanted to get a feel for it. So thanks for being here, Dad.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
So how are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah. How'd you like it?
How did I like it?
Yeah.
The first round, I got to tell you, it just sort of surprised me with the recoil, but it's a light gun and should have expected that. But I learned after shooting a couple more rounds downrange that the key is keeping it nice and tight into your shoulder, and you can manage that recoil. It's a beautiful weapon, and it just shot nicely. So I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Do you have a rifle yourself?
I do. I have a couple, but I do not have a Howa. So that is probably my next purchase.
Cool.
Is it a Howa rifle?
It will be a Howa rifle, absolutely.
Oh.
I think we can cut the show here.
Yeah, we're done. See you.
All
Out
right.
of here. Take our beer and go home. Bye.
Do I get a free gun for that?
I wish we all got free guns. You get a gun and you get a gun. So for you guys that don't know, this is the Howa Model 1500. It is their super light. So it's coming in, I think online it said 4.7 pounds.
Oh, 4.7? Oh, that's 4.5.
So it's super light. Doesn't come with a scope on it. That's Gun Owners. Sam hooked it up for us to get out and really put it to the test, which we kind of got to. It was pouring rain, but we got out to about 100, 150 yards with this. You guys had a lot of fun. I'm still injured, so I just was your reloader and dialing in the scope, which still fun for me, but I really wish I shot it. So we compared it to a different Howa 1500, both chambered in a 6.5 Creedmoor. So John, you've never shot a rifle like this before. What was your experience with, let's go with the heavier, the like standard 1500 6.5, not super light?
Right. No, that one, I thought it felt good in my hands. I was given some instructions by you and your dad, and putting out on my crease right here on where my chest and my shoulder meets right here, and I was able to keep it. And I like it a little bit heavier. I think it doesn't pull back or recoil as much, and I think I was able to shoot it a little bit with consistency. Maybe because of that. And then it's still loud. I was shocked how loud it was, and I'd be scared if I heard that on the street somewhere.
How about just looking at this new one? They're both new. They're both brand new. I think we dialed the scope in on both of them today.
We did.
But the super light, just looking at it, it's got, I think, a roughly 20-inch barrel on it. Definitely has a shorter stock. Feels hollow to me when I kind of touched it. So I think that's where they cut a lot of weight. But looks alone, what are you thinking?
It looks aggressive. I mean, I mean, I'm sure it comes in different colors. A little camo right there. The scope and everything. You know, that's why I asked you earlier was, does this come with all that, or do you just get the gun and everything else you have to add and subtract? But yeah, no, I like this one too. Like I said, like we were talking about earlier on the show or behind the scene, I think we were talking about if we're going like overnight camping and we're going hunting.
Yeah.
You want it as light as you can, right?
Yeah, cut the weight.
Just like anything in life, like you want light, quicker, faster, lighter, you know.
Dad, what did you think looking at it?
Well, I should have expected the more of the recoil between the two weapons for sure. But so my first round downrange on that did surprise you because I wasn't holding it nice and tight and into my shoulder, and so I got a little bit of a snap on it. But once I started to get the feel for the weapon, I really liked it. It shoots beautifully, you know, and Howa's got such a great name for, you know, the situations like when we've been to Colorado hunting. This is the ultimate backpack. I mean, you could go into the backcountry with this thing. What are we talking? Little, maybe 5.5 pounds total weight with the scope.
I think that's what Sam weighted at, was about 5.5.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just featherweight compared to the 1500 or dare I say the 30-06 Remington I've got. It's like a tank. So from that perspective, it's the gun. It is absolutely the gun to have in the backcountry because you wouldn't even think or feel it on your backpack at all.
Well, I won my original Howa from Gun Owners of California, their 52-week raffle. Yep, never forget, because my dad bought me the tickets, so he's still sore about it. But my gun.
I'm happy for you, brother.
So that's how I got into really knowing about Howas. And outside looking in, when I handed everybody my wife's Howa, her 1500 into 6.5, I think everyone was like, wow, this is a pretty light rifle. This isn't bad. But then when we pulled the super light out of the bag, it was like, oh, holy cow, that is like really light. My son's he's going to turn 7, and he can shoulder that rifle.
Yeah.
So the weight it's definitely noticeable if
And
you're
a
looking
huge
for a
advantage.
lightweight gun. It's a definite advantage, especially when you're saying our Colorado hunts were to get to the base of the mountain with the elk run. We were hiking 5.5, 6 miles.
Just to get to the fringe.
Yeah.
And then you need to go a little further up steep mountain ranges, and you know the heavier the weapon, the harder that ascent is.
So before we dive more into like how it felt, before we go over the function, if this was hanging in a gun store, is it something that would catch your eye to say, hey, let me see that gun? Just looks alone.
Yeah.
I like the aggressive that you said, aggressive, because that's what came to my head when I opened this up and saw it for the first time. I thought that's an aggressive looking gun.
Well, it is, but you know, with you asking that question, my first thought was, well, no, probably maybe not, because it doesn't. It's aggressive on one hand, but then on the other hand, it doesn't look like it would have quite the punch you would want for a big game gun, right?
That's
you
true.
would think that would probably be more like a varmint gun, or maybe at best a deer rifle. But this 6.5 Creedmoor, oh my gosh! I mean, it's just that's a great ballistic round to shoot. So I mean, it'll take a elk easy.
Well, so for you in the store, you'd have to have the salesman there with you to just say, hey, if you're looking at that other 6.5,
yeah,
maybe
to be
check out
honest,
this one.
I think of all the guns on a rack, that would not catch my eye. I think you know, the 1500 or some other larger weapon would. However, if I was there looking for something for the backcountry, and someone said, "Oh, hey, you ought to check this out. This is a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's really lightweight." I'm like, "Well, hey, okay, now you got my attention."
Yeah, it feels light like a bullpup. 22 almost, like a super
Yeah.
light gun that's just going to throw in your bag, but it's packed
When you
in a
first handed that
6.5.
to me, I was like, I could not believe how light it was. I really couldn't. I was just amazed.
Yeah, I thought like I don't know why I'm thinking like old school movies and like, you know, back is all like wood and things like that. But I guess the gun game has come a long way. But yeah, when I
compared
felt,
to your John Wayne movies.
right. when I felt it in my hands, I was like, oh man, this feels good and light, and you know, anytime you gotta walk for a while and hike in miles, yeah, you want everything to be light, you know.
So you said wood. It made me think. My father-in-law gave me his Remington 730-06, and it's the old walnut stock. It's beautiful, beautiful gun. And that's what I've been hunting with. And my buddy Sam from Gun Owners has been encouraging me, you know, Rob, you gotta like lighten this thing up because this thing's a tank. I said, I know, but I my goal is to get an elk with this gun and be able to share some of the meat with Brian's grandpa. But oh my gosh, that compared to this feels like a boat anchor. That compared to this is night and day difference. So I would take that in a heartbeat back to Colorado.
Yeah, and I have an old 30-06 that my grandpa gave me too. And my first elk hunt with it, I was hoping to get an elk. It starts pouring rain on us, and I shouldered it to just look to see because I thought I saw something. I shouldered it, and I just saw water all in my scope. I was like, well, I could put a new scope on it, but I think it's probably about time I get a new gun and just become like a nice
Novelty piece.
Yeah, exactly, something novelty. So so cool is the fit, the look and the fit of this gun seems like it's good for everybody, and everybody kind of likes the feel.
Yeah.
What about the function of it? Did you guys? I looking on the outside again, couldn't shoot. I saw some issues, but you guys handling it, pulling the trigger from one gun to the next. Did you notice any functional issues or anything that really stood out?
The bolt action's very stiff, especially between these two Howas. Same 6.5 Creedmoor, but maybe it's because this is just brand new out of the box almost. Pulling, just trying to cycle the bolt was a challenge. And then as we all saw, that third round in the clip, need a little tap on the bottom of it in order for it to pop up sufficiently for to seat so the bolt would take it. Obviously, a little bit of honing of the bolt, a little bit more lubrication, fine tuning, and I think all that would get worked out really easily.
Right, I think you hit it on the head on the lubrication there. You need to. I don't know what you do to make things easier, but yeah, as I was pulling it back out and
just some KY.
Sure.
You got him. You got him.
It's all it takes.
KY jelly, baby. That'll lube it all up.
Yeah, he likes that one.
Yeah. Just some like gun oil, but
Yeah.
I want to
So yeah, what would you do? So you got a new gun. You take it to the gun shop and you just tell them, "Hey, I just got this. Can you
I'm totally
oil
blocking
it up
John.
for me or lube it up?"
No, you probably got
You
it.
just hand you a tube of KY and say,
Yeah. Fix this.
Yeah.
No, I have a whole bunch. Every time I clean a gun, I put on gun oil,
Yeah.
make sure everything's working smoothly, operating the right way, do function checks, and then I put them away. And then you would, that's all you really do. And I think that's all we need to do is just run one good clean through it, and that gun would probably function well. I don't know about the magazine issue. I noticed every time we'd have to kind of pinch the magazine tighter in to send the action forward for it to catch that last round. But you get this little tiny magazine that only holds 3 rounds, and I think that's...
the spring could be a little stiff
Yeah, it could be the spring, but
Yeah.
I like that it's I mean, trying to keep it lightweight, and they're only giving you 3 rounds, which isn't bad. It did definitely keep the gun super light, where my wife's 6.5 comes with a 5 round or a 10 round. And so we were only using the 5 round today, but I mean, your ammo's going to add weight too, and Howa worked really hard, I could tell, to keep this gun light.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did. And
I just wonder where you could take weights off of the rifle and engineer it where even if you get a recoil, you're not
well, that's
hit too hard.
The other thing I liked about this is that, you know, I'm not a super big guy, but I'm 6'3". You know, I got a pretty good reach with my arms, and so this was more naturally comfortable. But for me to adjust to this 4.5 weapon, all it took was just, like I said, it was because we were shooting we shot the 1500 first, then we shot this one second. It just took a little bit of adjusting, and then it started feeling natural again.
Why don't you pull that one on camera, because I don't think anybody's seen it yet.
Yeah. Kind of keep this away from you, Brian, but
yeah, if you could just open it, make me feel safe. It's empty.
Nothing there. Oh,
because all the freaking gun people all online are like, oh, my God. We've checked it multiple times.
We have checked.
There's one round in the studio, and it's right there, so you know what a 6.5 looks like for all the people out there.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful gun, and obviously with the weight, it's going to absorb more of the recoil, and you're going to take more of the recoil from a weapon like that because of its lightweightness. But they've shortened the barrel, and we did kind of some quick eyeball comparisons, and we could see where they've taken weight off
of here, I think, too, right? We can actually slide this bolt out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll slide that one out. It's just button down, out. And actually, you know, they've really worked on cutting out. I mean, this is just a piece of rubber. You can buy these little Howa grips to make it easier to cycle, but that's a lot different right there.
So when you're talking about shaving weight, ounces, which is what you've probably got in terms of the difference between these two bolts, makes a big difference.
And then what I like about every Howa, so I have a Howa with the Hogue grip, and it's chambered in 300 Win Mag. Every single one has the threads already on the end of the barrel, so you can put a muzzle brake on it. So if you're wanting something different, it's literally you just grab it, you unscrew it, and you can just screw your muzzle brake right on it. And you get that out of the box with Howa, which you don't get with very many other rifles. So this rifle, we didn't have to buy it. This is one of the first things I think we haven't had to buy for the show, which is awesome. Huge thank you, gun owners and Legacy, for working together to get us this, to test it. But online, there's guns kind of ranging between $850 to right around $1,000. So being average dads, average grandpa,
thank you.
None of us, you know, in the 1% multimillionaires, is this maybe something you would be okay with spending $850 to $1,000 if you were into hunting?
I'll let you go first. I don't have anything to
having been in the backcountry with a rather heavy weapon, you know, and then obviously also taking the things that you need when you're out in the field, and appreciating the fact that, you know, every little bit of weight you can save is just going to make your backcountry experience that much better. I wouldn't think twice about putting that kind of money into a gun like that. That is probably half the weight of my 30-06 Remington.
Oh, probably more. That's probably way less than half the weight.
So yes, hands down, I wouldn't even think twice.
What about you, John?
I
know you're not a hunter. You're not into guns.
Let me ask a follow-up question on that. Give me a history of your gun collecting. Like, was rifle your first one, or a handgun?
No, for me, handguns is what I got into first, and I got into hunting late in life. So our first trip was when I went with Brian and our other buddies, so we call them Elk Team 6 folks. Sam Paredes is one of those. Eric Benson's been on, I believe, this show before. We're all part of that, and that's when I brought that 30-06 that I got from Brian's grandpa. And again, my heart's desire was to be able to take an elk with that weapon and share that with Chuck. But it's a behemoth. It's very heavy. We upgraded the scope on it, and the times we've gone back to Colorado, especially the last trip when it was just Brian and myself, and we really put some miles in. We probably hiked
10 miles a day.
10 miles, 12 miles a day is what I think we ended up figuring out. And in the snow, and I'm going to tell you, the schlepping that 30-06, I was able to do it, obviously, but if I had that weapon, trust me, I wouldn't probably have felt nearly as fatigued, and it just would have been a little bit easier backcountry experience. I'll just put it that way. And the ability of this weapon to that 6.5 Creedmoor will take an elk. If I got it in a 30-06 caliber, no problem too. It'd be interesting to see how the recoil is on this platform at on a 30-06. It's got a little more muzzle velocity than the Creedmoor, but not much. So they're probably very, very comparable.
Yeah, I mean, with what I want to get into, I don't care about the recoil.
Right.
Once I'm going to get a big gun, a gun that's shooting 7 mil, 300 Win Mag, 6.5, 30-06, I know it's going to kick. So if I could cut weight and I just have to hold it tighter to my shoulder, it's fine with me. If it means I can get up the mountain farther with less weight and I'm going to take the shot anyways. I mean, my go-to right now is a 300 Win Mag. It kicks harder than any gun I've shot before. I would have no problem spending $1,000 knowing like, hey, I could do an easy 3 to 6 day trip by myself, like going out into the backcountry or with my dad or my brother-in-law, and I would much rather have this smaller gun, lighter gun, large caliber gun on my bag until I get into the field where I'm going to hunt, where I'd take it off, than taking my big 300 Win Mag.
And let's not forget, I think almost all Howas, but I know for this one especially, and I believe for this 1500 as well, they're all sub MOA, right? Out of the box.
I think so. Yeah, it says, well,
I
it
believe
says
they
it right
are.
here.
So
What's that say?
That's
Sub MOA guaranteed.
yeah. I mean, well, you saw the groupings on our targets.
Targets, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were all of us were once we got this the feel of this weapon down, we were able to keep some pretty tight groupings, and of course once we had the big task of trying to dial the scopes in too. So once that and our getting accustomed to the weapon, we're putting in some pretty nice tight groupings.
So I'm gonna give this the average ad approval for hunters. If this is your first gun, I would
Yes.
say no.
Right. So that would be my bucket. So I don't have a gun. So my first would be a handgun if if a time comes to it. And then after that might be a rifle. But I do want to just have one of those shotguns that makes that.
Well, then we should do a shotgun review. Yeah.
That's all I want.
Pump action, dude.
You want a bullpup?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a bull, yeah, you get 20 rounds. But I mean, if you came to me and said, "Hey, Brian, I want to go buy a rifle because I want to hunt,"
Right.
I don't think I'd steer you to this.
You wouldn't.
Nope, I think I'd steer you to probably like this one, this other
Probably.
1500 we have
Okay.
over here. That was about $570,
Oh, okay.
and just say, "Hey, John, let's start with this."
Yeah.
This to me is more for a specific reason, like deep backcountry. You're hiking in, you're pitching your tent, you're staying out there. This is the gun for that,
Yeah.
hands down. I want this. I want this in my safe.
Right.
So if they want to give it to us, yeah, we could keep it if we don't have to give it back.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, I want to go hunting with you and deer hunting, it'd be cool. Let's just get out there early. Let's hike in and
Yeah.
let's just do the day and come back.
Yeah.
I'd just get you
Gotcha.
a different rifle.
Gotcha. It's okay. I have
Well,
quads that I could.
and this
Yeah, your quads, you can carry anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It's a more forgiving weapon too, but the heavier it is. So,
Got it.
so
Yeah, that's what I felt when I shot both. I felt like this was more forgiving than this one, and I felt like I don't know if I'm comparing it to a golfer. If you go from more of a forgiving clubs to a blade club, then blades are really hard to hit. But if you hit the sweet spot, it goes far, or it goes more accurate. So that's how I kind of compared the two.
It's a great comparison.
Feel.
So, all right. Well, if you made it this far, the show, thank you. You're a true beer barian. We appreciate you. Definitely go out, check out Howa Rifle. Definitely look at purchasing it through Legacy Sports International. They are a huge help, and they can help get you dialed into the right rifle you want. Support Gun Owners of California, and thank you again for Forcible Entry for being a big sponsor of the show.
Hi, I'm Sam Paredes. I'm Executive Director of Gun Owners of California. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of Gun Owners of America and Gun Owners Foundation. Want to let you know that we are here to sponsor Gear and Beer Show. I'm taking this with me. See ya.